My name is Diane Foley. I'm the mother of 5 children. Our oldest was James Wright Foley, the American journalist who was killed by ISIS in 2014. Within 3 weeks of his murder, we started the James W. Foley Legacy Foundation to secure the freedom for innocent U.S. nationals who were taken hostage abroad, to promote journalist safety, and to inspire moral courage in ourselves and others. Our oldest son, Jim, chose to go into conflict journalism, I think primarily because 3 of his younger siblings were in the military. And Jim himself was quite a pacifist, and he wanted to understand why would people choose to become soldiers and what happens to civilians, particularly children, in the midst of conflict. In 2012, chose to go into Syria and was in and out of Syria throughout the year. So it was Thanksgiving of 2012 when he was taken hostage. That is when we went into one of the darkest times as a family, because he disappeared. We had no idea who had taken him. Our government did not know, and we never talked to him again and did not know he was even alive. We found out in the fall of 2012 through others who had been taken hostage that Jim was alive, that he was in fact in a Syrian prison. He had been taken by a radical jihadist group that finally started communicating with us in November of 2012, demanding millions of dollars in ransom or release of some of their prisoners, neither of which we could do. Our government was not allowed to engage with the terrorists at all. So we were on our own to negotiate, to try to tell them we couldn't do either of those things. And they stopped communicating in December of 2012. In the new year of 2014, all the European hostages started to return. So we were hopeful initially that the Americans would come home. Jim was held with 3 other Americans for part of his imprisonment. The next time we heard from the jihadist captors was in August of 2014, when they threatened to kill Jim if our government did not stop bombing some of the Yazidi population. And then Jim was brutally beheaded on August 19th of 2014. And it was a very public, horrific image that was sent throughout the world. And we did not even see it until a sobbing journalist called us to tell us to look at Twitter. That's how we found out that Jim had been killed. Through the goodness of others, and through my faith in a loving God, and seeing that goodness in the many people who reached out to us, friends, strangers, people from all over the world, literally. Jim always saw the good. He always looked for the good. He aspired to be a man of moral courage. So that challenged and inspired me to dare to find the good, to use the horror of what we've been through somehow for others. And so within 3 weeks of Jim's horrific murder, we started the James W. Foley Legacy Foundation. We had felt strongly that our government could do much better. I was angry with our government. I had felt patronized, even lied to at times, definitely deceived into thinking that they kept telling me Jim was their highest priority, when in action that was never true. Our government chose not to negotiate with the terrorists and would not allow FBI to help us negotiate. So it was partly out of that our priority was to help other families in this situation, and that our nation would prioritize the return of innocent U.S. nationals. All of us can make a difference by using our gifts and voice for good, for change, that we're not dependent on all those in government or our leaders, or we too can have our voice, particularly in our country. that we're allowed to share our stories and challenge the people who lead us to do better. That's part of the gift of democracy. I also found that prayer and exercise helped me. Spending time with friends and people of goodness, they've challenged me, inspired me to pick myself up when I was discouraged and try again. I've had to forgive myself for not being able to do the things that might have helped Jimmy come home. I trusted our government and others to do it when I could have, should have done more on my own. So I've had to forgive government officials and even look to the jihadists who were so radicalized that they didn't see Jim as a person to even try to challenge myself to see them as people who've made horrible mistakes. We've all made mistakes. Through it, not be afraid to be with people who love you, who reach out. That I think sometimes we can tend to want to isolate ourselves or hide, and we need others. I don't think any person is an island. I needed everyone. It was like angels surrounded me, and I needed all of them, even the people I didn't know. I think there's much we can learn from believing in a higher power that's much more merciful, kinder, uh, has more goodness than us. I think we miss out when we eschew any kind of religion or faith traditions. I think a lot of the faith traditions, at their basic goodness, at the core, are full of all that's good and that we need to learn. So I do invite people to explore faiths, because I know for me that my faith in God and a lot of what I've been taught since I was a child has helped me, has led me, has kept me whole.